I was absolutely astounded to come to the understanding that there was 1.2 million abortions in the United States. And I think our involvement got sealed when I actually saw the ultrasound of my grandson, Timmy. And from that ultrasound, it's very clear to understand that that is a human being, that is a person, and that person's life cannot be taken and must be saved. I was in business, just a businessman, taking care of business, taking care of my family, but really not in a heavy way involved in charitable aspects. And I miss that in my life through my business career. Very much inspired by the example of my father and both of my parents and the charitable work that they did. The year that we founded the Gerard Health Foundation, we had determined at that point in time that we could come up with an overarching goal, which is to save lives.
Well, the Gerard Health Foundation has devoted itself to promoting life in all facets, ranging from neonatal life and supporting stem cell research that is ethical, to supporting candidates for the Supreme Court, to members of Congress. We hope and pray that in my lifetime that we'll be able to solve the abortion problem in the United States and the world.
And this is so inspiring to build a movement of young people who are not only educated about the culture of life and about abortion, but are activated in very specific strategic ways to build that culture of life and to fight abortion and threats against life in their communities. This work is so invaluable, it's so needed, and we want to do it to the best of our ability.
There's a lot of room in this pro-life boat for everybody. And there's many, many things that you could be doing. Grab an oar, dig in, start to work it. And just like many of these recipients, you too can do great things.
Welcome to the 2009-2010 Life Prizes Awards. Please welcome Senior Vice President, Gerard Health Foundation, Claude Allen.
Thank you. Good evening. The Gerard Health Foundation exists for the sole purpose of promoting life and affirming work throughout the United States and around the world. It has been our distinct privilege to work with the very best people and programs dedicated to this goal, including many of you in our audience this evening. The purpose of Life Prizes is to honor those in the pro-life movement who work tirelessly to advance pro-life causes. Tonight is a celebration of that work. Through Life Prizes, we are placing needed funds into the hands of a few who are doing much to advance and defend life because they know best where those funds are needed to save lives. As part of the introductory video, you heard how our previous Life Prizes award winners have used their award money to continue their life-saving work. We are proud of all of our past winners. At this time, I would like to welcome your Master of Ceremonies, the most listened to woman in talk radio, O'Reilly Factor regular, and New York Times best-selling author, Laura Ingraham, who will make their awards presentations, assisted by Kathy Lewis. Thank you.
Tonight, we are able to celebrate ordinary people doing extraordinary things. And these ordinary people, they made plans, they attended school, they started jobs, until one day when they heard a call that utterly changed them. These people we honor tonight heard the call of the most helpless of human beings. Unborn children and disabled patients abandoned by the medical profession. the legal profession, and sometimes, very sadly, even by their own families. Our honorees put aside their life and their life plans to fight for the lives of people they never met. It's the most important work in the world. One planned to be a journalist and instead became the most effective lobbyist in Washington, D.C. One trained for the stage, but speaks on the world stage now for the United Nations. And one taught school until the brutal death of his sister inspired him and his family to save others. Now, these people, it's not going to surprise you, aren't going to be honored at the Kennedy Center or featured on the Today Show, Good Morning America, and no longer on Keith Olbermann's show on MSNBC. That was an ad-lib, Mr. Ruddy. Sorry about that. Aren't I awful? I have to even bring, isn't that just terrible of me? Yes, I'm gloating. Number one in cable news. But they are our heroes because they are so countercultural today. And by their work and by their witness, they're defeating the culture of death, which has, of course, had such a firm grip on the nation for so many years. Now, I have a news flash for the mainstream media and all the other elites out there. America is not buying what you're selling. You know I'm not. The pro-life movement, this is like a eureka moment for most of the hosts of most of the major network shows. It's broad, it's strong, it's often really young, and the ranks, as we'll see on Monday at the March for Life, are growing every year. I love it. Even in the cold weather, we turn out. And all of you are welcome to join us. Now, as we hear these stories tonight, listen carefully. Take it all in, let it wash all over you, because you may also be called. Let's begin.
I can relate to young people is, we've got this covered, don't worry about it. Get some education, get some experience, and come back in a few years. I refuse to accept this message. And you must refuse to accept this message as well. Because a nation that kills its own children is not a nation without need. Today, our generation is needed like never before. And we must be the ones who stand up and lead the battle. I started at age 15 volunteering at a pregnancy help center. And then I started pro-life groups in my high school and my college. Because of this experience, I saw the need to establish pro-life groups across America and train this generation. So I joined Students for Life. And tonight I'm here as the leader of the largest pro-life student group in the world. I'm here because of a passion I share with each and every one of you. What I've done, anyone can do. You must simply take your passion and your skills and get involved saving lives. We need each of you to be this generation's pro-life heroes. And as we continue our struggle tomorrow morning, let us remember this when we wake up. It's from the words of Holocaust survivor Elie Wiesel. There may be times when we're powerless to prevent injustice, but there must never be a time when we fail to protest. So please join me and let's end abortion in our lifetime.
I'd really like to thank the Gerard Health Foundation for this prize and this honor. I would also like to recognize and thank the person who first invited me to get involved in the pro-life movement over 36 years ago when we were both college students. A truly remarkable and incredibly humble man who was in the forefront of so many pro-life struggles and who I am proud to call my husband, Chris Smith. we gather in our nation's capital, I am reminded of and inspired by the words of Thomas Jefferson as he spoke on the topic of good government. Jefferson said, "The care of human life and happiness, and not their destruction, is the first and only object of good government." Your presence in Washington, D.C. for the 38th anniversary of Roe v. Wade demonstrates that you are willing to sacrifice and work to ensure that our government cares for life in all stages. I thank you, and I urge you, especially the college students here tonight, to consider a career in government, to run for public office, and to work from within, to build a government that cares for all lives, regardless of whether they are planned, perfect, or privileged. My Life Prize will be used by the Parliamentary Network for critical issues, for its international work, to protect the child in the womb and his or her mother from the violence of abortion in so many countries around the world where life is challenged. God bless you all, and thank you again.
Thank you to the Gerard Foundation. Thank you, Laura, for your kind words. I am honored and humbled. In 1965, I left a successful career as an obstetric nurse in Omaha, Nebraska, to pursue my dream of a career as an actress. And if I did not succeed, and did not marry, to possibly join the missions. But God planned a different mission for me in the most important human rights cause of our time. When New York State enacted the most permissive abortion law in the country in 1970, I became involved immediately, but in a limited way. I thought in the largest city in the U.S., there must be others to lead the fight better than I could. But the rapidly expanding abortion horror in the wake of the New York law compelled me to get more and more involved. In 1987, when asked to represent the International Right to Life Federation at the United Nations, I accepted with reluctance. I was too busy, and there must be others who could do a better job. When I learned that the UN was being used to promote abortion worldwide, there was no choice. I had to do more. I discovered that I could do things that I never thought possible. I found that armed with just compassion and the truth, I can influence diplomats, ministers, and ambassadors to do the right thing, to embrace life. I urge young people to become involved. You are the hope of the future. You will be amazed at what you can do. After all, the pro-life movement is composed of ordinary people doing extraordinary things with God's help. Thank you.